Messi is now a Paris Saint-Germain player. Now, all of this noise in the media space suddenly made me remember something I always wanted to do, and that is the issue about the most goals scored in a calendar year by a footballer. And I've included it in the Laughable Nonsense series. Why? Let us get started. In the 2012 football calendar year, Messi scored 91 goals, and it was quickly accepted as a record for the most goals scored in a calendar year in the history of football. The previous record was attributed to Gerd Muller, who scored 85 goals in the 1972 calendar year for both club and country. When Messi was nearing the goal-scoring feat of Gerd Muller, protest voices were ringing from Zambia. The Zambian authorities, journalists, and historians declared to the world that their own Godfrey Chitalu had a score of 107 goals in the 1972 calendar year. In other words, the record for the most goals scored in a calendar year was not for Gerd Muller in the first place, let alone Lionel Messi. This news from Africa means that Messi was 16 goals shy of the record from this Zambian. Not surprising, the foreign media disputed the Zambian claims. The Zambians took up the task and gathered evidence. Foremost among them was the journalist Gerd Muchimba. This hard-working journalist made available newspaper reports of every single match played by Godfrey Chitalu in 1972. From the newspaper reports came the dates, venues, names of opposition teams, competitions, and goals scored by Godfrey Chitalu. It was a detailed work, and he even published them in a book titled Godfrey Chitalu. The biased media of this world will still have none of it. The Zambia authorities even made available a photo of Godfrey Chitalu holding a ball with his name and the 107 goals scored inscribed on it. This special yellow ball with the 107 goals scored was provided by Rothmans International, the sponsors at that time. The world media will still have none of it. Kwabe United, the club that he played for, decided to rename their railway stadium as Godfrey Chitalu 107 Stadium to mark their 50th anniversary in 2012. Many rejected the record of Godfrey Chitalu. Why did it take long for the Zambians to make this claim? They ask. Why not in 1972 when Gerd Muller was acknowledged as the holder of the record? Why now? Well, the world at that time was not a global village as we see it now. And moreover, the Zambians have already acknowledged their player as having the record. If the world refused to notice it, so be it. An interesting point to note is that FIFA has always been aware of the exploits of Godfrey Chitalu. Godfrey Chitalu was awarded by FIFA in 1982 for his immense contribution to football at a ceremony in France. I brought this point for us to know that we are talking about a generational talent. FIFA has come out to say that they don't keep a record of goals scored at the domestic level of its national associations. In effect, FIFA does not recognize goals scored domestically by a player as they are not interested in it. FIFA has therefore not ratified the goals of both Lionel Messi and Godfrey Chitalu as well as other players on the most goals scored in a calendar year list. But the sad thing is that the sports media in general are ignoring the evidence and still attributing the most goals scored in a calendar year to Lionel Messi. Some football fans acknowledge that Godfrey Chitalu has scored more goals but still assert that the record still belongs to Messi. Why? They are of the view that the Zambia League, and for that matter African football, is weaker than that of Spain and Europe. For this reason, his goals should be rendered null and void, or should be given a low coefficient as it is done by UEFA for clubs playing in the so-called lower leagues. Well, that is UEFA business, and their purview only ends at Europe and not Africa and other parts of the world. This is clearly a laughable nonsense. Assuming that it is easy to score goals for fun in the Zambian League. Godfrey Chitalu was a once-in-a-while generational talent. Before Godfrey Chitalu and after him, no one has scored goals like him in Zambia. At the national level, Godfrey Chitalu has scored 79 goals in 111 appearances for Zambia, making him the African player with the most goals for his national team. And he is regarded as the 5th player on the all-time list of the world with most goals scored for his national team. Why is this one being acknowledged? Or is it because he does not hold the number 1 spot for the most goals scored by a player for his national team? Let's face it, if he was on the number 1 spot for the most goals scored by a player for his national team, they would have cried out loud that his goals were mostly scored against weak opponents. Godfrey Chitalu's goals per game ratio for the national team is among the best ever in the history of football. Another thing to note is that Godfrey Chitalu scored 81 goals in the calendar year of 1968 while playing for Kitwe United. The Zambian football great must therefore appear twice on the top 10 list for the most goals scored in a calendar year. Football fans outside Zambia assume that Kalusha Bwalya is Zambia's greatest player ever. Well, the Zambia people disagree. Godfrey Chitalu is widely regarded as Zambia's greatest player ever. This clearly shows that he was not an average player, but a true talent that emerged in world football. FIFA even awarded Godfrey Chitalu in 1982 at a ceremony in France for his immense contribution to the game of football. This clearly shows that he was not an average player, but a true talent that emerged in world football. In 1993, the national team of Zambia faced a disaster when an aircraft carrying the Zambian team for a World Cup qualifier against Senegal crashed. All passengers on board died, including their coach, Godfrey Chitalu, the record holder for the most goals scored in a calendar year. The world media should give honor where it is due, irrespective of the corner of the earth it is coming from. Thank you.